Awesome. There we go. Cool. Well, welcome everyone. We are probably going to cover some what's new stuff really quickly, but if you're new here, the way that our meetings typically work is we like to start off with some of the things that have been updated in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. Every single month, there's new stuff. There's new features, there's new apps, things get turned upside down. And so we have some news for you around those things. And then we're going to jump into our feature highlight, which this month is a continuation of Microsoft bookings. And then we'll hang out for some Q&A if you have any questions. And I guess I should introduce myself, but my name is Dwayne. I'm a cloud solution architect with Microsoft, and my BFF over there is Joe. What's up, Joe?
Hi, I'm Joe Gasper, Systems Administrator, Microsoft MVP. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm excited because I hope last month everyone saw just how awesome Bookings is. Bookings with me, super amazing, time saver. And I know lots of extension folks are, you're working with clientele that are typically not a part of your university, right? So they don't have calendars that they can check your calendar and see when you're available. And so from an extension perspective, we see bookings as very valuable. And now we're going to continue on that conversation and move away from bookings with me, which is like the personal portal, over to just what we'll call proper bookings or classic bookings, which is an app that's been around for actually a really long time. And you'll start to see ways that you could scale this outward and upward and use it for a larger group. Maybe your entire extension office. Somebody goes to a bookings page for Cloudy County and they see all the services that Cloudy County offers, and each of those services is tied to the specialist or the agent that does that thing. You could put all of it in one place and get all your reporting in one place. That'd be pretty sweet. But before I ruin everything and talk about bookings too much, Joe, you want to do some stuff that's new? What do we got that's new?
Yeah, let's jump in and get through this. Just want to point out a few things here. First one I want to show is a little awareness campaign here on a tool that is the video platform for Microsoft 365 world, and that's Microsoft Stream. There is a Stream Classic and there's a Stream 2.0. Most of you, all of you should be at this point be using Stream 2.0, which means when you make a recording, you're going to have that file in Teams, a Teams recording, going to end up in SharePoint or going to end up in OneDrive. Previously, these are going into Stream Classic, or you could upload videos that you've created outside of the Microsoft platform, upload them into Stream Classic. That is going away. It has got some dates that sometimes have been moving. One recently has moved, but just want to make sure you're aware if you've put anything into Stream Classic that there's some dates coming up. With April 15th being right now, the fully retired, it will be disabled and not accessible anymore date you want to pay attention to. I'll drop this information into our chat if you want to share this with any of your administrators. But just to make sure that you are aware, or maybe don't remember that you put something into Stream Classic, just how to get there. Our favorite office.com website. Click your app launcher and you may see Stream. If you've accessed it before, you might need to explore all your apps, but you can go into Stream. And this is the new Stream interface that works very well with the new Stream 2.0. You'll find in the upper right a way to click through into Stream Classic. And if you've got any videos in here or belong to any groups, perhaps you created and uploaded videos and things like that, you're going to find them in here. And you can do some discovery around my content. Go grab those, check those out. You're going to want to work through a migration strategy. There's some ways to do that administratively, or you can download and re-upload them if you need to. But you always want to make sure that's coming up. There's some dates to be aware of. And I'll drop those into the chat here in a few. Next we want to talk about is a couple things that are new in Microsoft Teams.
I want to make a comment about new Stream though, because just in case people aren't aware, because I have people that had asked me before, when I record a Teams meeting, where does it go? And who gets it? Like who gets the recording? So I'm going to clarify that a little bit. With this change, moving away from Stream Classic to Stream on SharePoint, it really puts the meeting file a lot closer to the meeting organizer, which I feel like is a good thing. And it puts it in a platform that guests can access the recording. That was the major limitation that's easy to forget about Stream Classic, was when you had a recording of a meeting, only people within your university or your institution could see that recording. Nobody outside could ever see it. It just didn't work. And so moving that direction is a good thing. But if you are the person who clicks record on a Teams meeting, if it's a private meeting, not one that's scheduled in a team inside of a channel of a team, then that meeting recording will go into a recordings folder in your OneDrive, whoever clicked record. It'll be automatically shared with everyone who was invited to the meeting. If it is a channel meeting in Teams, which channel meetings are a unique thing that only Teams does, the recording will go into the files tab of that channel in a recordings folder, which is amazing. Like if your committee meets on a regular basis in a channel, which I think is a great idea, every single time you click record, it's just going to drop it right into the storage of that team. So everybody who's a member of the team or ever becomes a member of the team later will have access to that recording automatically. So huge change, way better. Way better. And yeah, Joe, it's easy to forget like the struggles of Stream Classic and guests and stuff. That was a long time ago, it feels like, but
And this is
worth
this is
pointing
the
out.
third change in the video platform that we've gone through. So I think now that it's in SharePoint OneDrive, that's home in
Final resting
storage.
place.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that'll be the last one, hopefully. Next thing real quick we want to go through is a few changes. We have something called spatial audio available now in Teams. If you have a USB mic or a USB speakers or something in maybe in your monitor or wired headset right now, you have the option to turn on spatial audio. Uh, this is gives me a kind of a really nice immersive feel when I'm in a call now with a few people, get a feel for almost who's talking in what location on the screen almost. So something to take advantage of and try that out. You'll find that in the device settings in Teams. There's some together mode enhancements that are very nice if you're taking advantage of together mode. You're on a call with maybe a dozen people or so. It's kind of fun to turn on together mode option, put people into seats. You're now going to be able to see their reactions show up. Person who's talking is going to have their name show up under their picture. So those are some nice enhancements there. You can also do seat assignments in together mode. If you want to move maybe your keys, people who are presenting, you could move them into certain places in the seating arrangements and move them around. So that's kind of fun. Next thing is in Teams with the captioning. You can turn on your own captioning for a call. There's now some options you'll find around the color and the location for that. So there's some nice and continues to be important for Microsoft. They really strive to do accessibility is very important to them. And that's a new feature that's now available in your Teams client. There's a feature now also in if you get a lot of alerts, if you're in a lot of teams and a lot of people chatting at you in your activity feed in Teams, there's now a nice mark all as read option. So that's a quick way to, if you know you've handled all those activities, you can just mark those as read and go right through them. And the last thing I want to cover is this is helpful in hybrid environments. Up under your profile picture now, you're going to find an option for setting a basic location, office or remote. So today I'm in the office. I could help my team members know where I'm at, let them know, hey, I'm probably available for lunch. I'm on campus. So that's a nice little feature there you're going to find that is now available. And that's what I just want to go through today for some new items.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. It's always, like I said, this stuff's always changing and always keeping us on our toes, right? Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. We're gonna do a little tiny recap. Um, Hopefully that's coming through okay. Looking good, Joe?
Looks good.
Awesome. We're going to do a little tiny recap about what it takes to get bookings, and we wanted to be very transparent and talk about those types of things. There are three different licensing levels for education, three different SKUs or licenses that you can have. There's an A1 license, which is a free license from Microsoft that includes all the online services, basically. The A3 license is where you start to include things like the desktop applications of Office, like Word and Excel and PowerPoint and those types of things. And then there's the A5 license, which is the hot rod license that includes all of those things. Plus, it includes like some voice stuff. Plus, it includes access to like a lot of security tools for your admins, and compliance tools and some pretty powerful stuff. The thing that we're going to talk about today in bookings requires at least an A3. So we did talk about this last month, but again, just in case anybody's new or forgot, we wanted to remind you how to check and see what kind of license you have, so you can see if you're going to have access to bookings in the first place. So if you go over to office.com, and you can do this a couple of different ways. You can click on your profile picture at the top right, and you can say view account. And this is going to take you to myaccount.microsoft.com. Myaccount.microsoft.com is obviously another way you could get to the same page if you just type that right into your web browser. From here, you're going to see on the bottom, we've got a link called subscriptions. And when we click on subscriptions, sometimes you might have to do one more click. Mine occasionally just loads straight into it. But you can see that I have the Microsoft 365 A5 for faculty license. So this means that my account is fully licensed and supports using bookings if my IT admins have enabled it. That's another thing that we need to check. So just because you have A3 or A5 doesn't mean you're in the clear yet. Sometimes admins will I have to opt in or turn on, or they've turned off certain things. And the way that you see those certain things is like we've got this massive list of stuff here, right? Like these are all the features and bits and pieces that are a part of my A5 license. So the easiest way to do this is to just hit Control F on your keyboard and type in the word book, and it's going to auto search all those features. And if you see Microsoft bookings, then congratulations, you have access. You have the license that you need, and the feature is turned on by your admins. If it's not turned on by your admins, however you might put in a request, a change request, or a evaluation of some sort, you would at least know at this point, like, hey, I don't have what I need to do this. So just again, wanted to be very forthcoming with that and let you know we're not trying to like sell you something. We just want you to know how to check and see what you've got, so that you can take advantage of some of these pretty sweet tools.
Is that all that's in an A5?
There is, I'm gonna show you the most wonderful website ever. I'll drop this in the chat. All the IT nerds are gonna love this. But this site is called m365maps.com. The thing that I always go to is this thing right here called the feature matrix. The feature matrix is sick. Like you can just go ahead and uncheck everything and then say, show me A1, A3, and A5 so that I can go side by side and compare every single feature that they have. This site was just recently updated. So there's a gentleman that works at Microsoft as a technical specialist, I think in Australia, that maintains this and runs this in his spare time. I have no idea. Licensing is I think you have to have like a freaking PhD in licensing to be able to talk to people about it. But yeah, this website is super sick. It shows like the storage benefits that you get per mailbox and archiving and like all this, here, I'll just copy this because if you notice the website address, I can copy this matrix and drop it right here for you. So you all have exactly what I'm looking at. So that was a side note tangent. But I love this site. It's in my favorites. It's in my startup. Like when I start up a new tab, that's one of the buttons that is available to me. Okay, so last month we talked about Bookings with Me, which was available through Outlook. If you wanted to start up your bookings with me, you could do it via your calendar. You could schedule new bookable time. You can get to it through the settings. It is really tied to Outlook itself. There is no like standalone app kind of experience for it, right? Everything's done through Outlook. We're going to change gears and we're going to talk about just bookings. I don't, it's really confusing. I wish that there was,
I don't
I
want to
can
say
see,
Bookings Classic, but it's been around much
yeah,
longer than Bookings with Me.
yeah. Bookings with me is relatively new, like in the last, I don't know, general availability in the last 6, 12 months. Bookings, however, has been around for, gosh, like a decade almost. And it was originally brought out as part of the small medium business plan. So, Microsoft has different levels of subscription depending on the size of your company. You may not need enterprise grade features for a barbershop, right? That might be overkill. So they have these series of subscriptions that were for small and medium business. Bookings came out there. That was where it first came out. It wasn't in the enterprise stuff, and it definitely wasn't in the education stuff. Um, so we'll talk about like kind of the origin story of bookings a little bit as we go through, but you're always going to have the waffle, the little app launcher there. And like Joe showed, if you didn't see the app in this list, you might need to click the explore all your apps, and it'll take us to a page where we see lots and lots and lots of apps available to us in different categories and all kinds of fun stuff. But basically, you're going to want to poke around in here until you find bookings, and you can pin it to your apps over here if you wanted to. But I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Now, I've done a couple of demos before around bookings, so this isn't like a super clean start. But if you didn't have any bookings pages, it would just tell you like, hey, you don't have any bookings pages. Let's create one. So your experience might be slightly different. But I'm seeing two different categories here. So this is important. So it says personal bookings page, and then it says shared bookings pages. So this is where it's starting to split the experience. The top one, personal bookings page, that's what we talked about last month. That's bookings with me. Shared bookings pages, this is where you can really get some powerful capabilities. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. We're going to build a new one from scratch. And we're going to call this Cloudy County Demo. Now, I want you to notice right off the bat, I'm glad I told you it was a small, medium business tool in the beginning because there are still remnants that kind of talk about that. You are going to see lots of stuff that say business, hours, address, currency, those types of things. When bookings first came out, I'll go back to the barbershop example. It was a really great way for a small business to just fire up an app and say, I offer these 3 or 4 different services. And you can go to my website and you can schedule an appointment with me. You can come to my shop and we'll give you a sweet haircut or whatever. So you're going to see a lot of this business lingo in here, and it doesn't always necessarily translate directly into education, but once you see it, it'll start to make sense why it works that way. So I'm going to leave everything at the default. Choosing this stuff doesn't even really matter at this point. Your business type makes no impact on what your bookings page looks like. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit next. You can add like your little county seal or something there if you wanted to do a logo. But I'm just going to go ahead and hit next. Now, this is where it's really going to veer off from personal bookings because now it's telling me, hey, you can invite people, right? Me and Joe might want to offer consultations together, or maybe Joe does Brazilian blowouts and Dwayne does sweet fades, if keeping the barbershop example going, right? That looks, Joe, you look like a kind of guy that would do that. Or you go see Joe and he just shaves your head. You know, so you could offer different services that align to different humans that do those things, right? You might, especially an extension, right? You're not going to want to just have a random pool of people and the customer selects a on-site evaluation of their farm and it picks a master gardener, to go do it, right? You want to do a service for soil samples and it grabs one of the master gardeners, right? Or, range cattle assessment or something like that. Well, I think we've done lots of jokes and things around compost, those types of things. So now you're going to start to see, oh, there's some power here. I can invite people. So I'm going to go ahead and invite myself. And notice we've even got roles. I can bring this person in with different levels of access to the bookings page itself. Do I want them to be an administrator? Do I want them to be able to add staff or delete staff and do administrative type things? Do I want them to be able to just schedule meetings on behalf of staff, if we're not doing self-service scheduling? So there's different roles here that you can select from. I'm going to stick to the default of just team member just for the ease of the demo. Now here's that service. You're going to get this default 30-minute meeting. It's a Teams meeting. You can see that because we got the cute little Teams logo there. People can select anytime between the hours of 9 and 5 to drop a 30-minute Teams meeting on my calendar or whoever's calendar I assign to this service. I'm going to leave it alone because I want to go into more of the back end of the administrative page on how to show you how to create a service or how to customize an existing service. And notice it says that I wasn't even reading. It says you can customize this later. So don't worry about the initial setup wizard. It's not going to break anything if you don't fill it out exactly the way you want.
Same with adding a user. You don't have to add somebody right away.
Yeah. The default of who can book, this was also a carryover or an option that you would have seen last month in Bookings with Me. You can say only people inside of my organization, so they have to have a whatever.edu account to be able to sign into this. Or realistically, you're going to want the last one, which is I want people outside of my institution to be able to book with me. So I'm going to click that and click create, and we'll give it a second, and it will build out our bookings page. Now, for the IT nerds on the call, what's happening here, Joe? What's going on behind the scenes that IT people might care about?
We're getting a mailbox stood up for us that we're going to be using to kind of host all these bookings. And they're going to get kind of shared out and access to that for the staff members. So I think real quick, the name that you choose at the very beginning is going to become sort of part of this bookings page also. So you'll want to kind of think about what you set there. That will kind of carry through through some of the URLs and things like that you generate. So think about that before you build out your sort of production version of this.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because it is a mailbox that's dedicated to this bookings page, and that display name does become visible in other places. So if you had like a bookings page that you titled "The President," then there's going to be a mailbox that gets created called "The President," and it becomes, like, again, it becomes visible in other places. Where has this been a problem for me personally? Well, long before Bookings with Me was even available, it wasn't even a twinkle in Microsoft's eye yet, apparently. We just used regular bookings and we made a full-fledged bookings page just for one person. And I named my bookings page Dwayne Hyatt, thinking, oh, that makes sense. Well, I didn't realize this, but because it's a mailbox, it can be discovered and people can try to schedule meetings with it. And so they would search in the global address list for Dwayne Hyatt and they would mistakenly pick my bookings page, bookings account, and they would schedule a meeting with it and I wouldn't show up. And then they'd yell at me like, why didn't you show up to that meeting that we put on your calendar? What meeting? Oops, you scheduled it with, there's two things out there that say Dwayne Hyatt. So I had to go back and rename my page, which you can do. And I think under business information somewhere. Yep. So you can give this, like, you could do something like this, put in parentheses, something to differentiate it from yourself. So something to think about if you decide that you need more power than what Bookings with Me provides, and you want to create a bookings page just for you personally. You might want to think about naming it differently, in a way that doesn't match your display. So while we're in here, we're going to start more or less at the bottom. So let me draw some pictures here. So we're going to not cover that right now. You've got these different nodes here, and I like to go up from the bottom. So I start with business information. That's where I'm going to fill out everything about my business. And people are going to see this kind of stuff on the public facing website. So you can type in an address, maybe of your extension office. It's trying to creep on me and get my address automatically there. Currency is the thing, and you can technically say a service costs money, but there is no payment collection in this. There is no payment collection built into bookings. Again, go back to the barbershop example. A Brazilian blowout costs $50, or Joe will shave your head for $5. You could put different costs on services so that people know that there's a fee associated with it. And when they show up to your office and they receive said service, you will use, give me cash, write me a check, take credit card, however it is that you would normally do it. So that's why currency is there, and that's why you can assign a dollar figure to a service. Your logo, pretty important, right? Like I said, throw your county seal on there or whatever it is that you might want to do. Profile picture, really sweet AI generated headshot. Business hours. This is important because this is going to define the starting point for when people can book anything inside of your business bookings page. I feel like I said that really poorly.
It's the default to me. It's like the default for every service. If you want this, is kind of how I view it.
Yeah. Well,
if you know across all your services, you're not open on Monday.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's say your extension office is never open on Monday. Monday is a day that we are closed per, government, whatever. You could just delete Monday. And so Monday is a day that nobody will be in the office. And so in your business hours, just go ahead in here and delete Monday. And then that way, anytime you create a new service, by default, Monday won't be an option that anybody could ever pick. Or maybe your office shuts down every single day for lunch. Right? We are closed between the hours of 12 and 1. Nobody will ever schedule something with you during that time period. You could come in here and you could add a secondary line for Tuesday. And you could change this first one to say until noon. And you could change this one to say 1. So now we've got 9 to 12 or 1 to 5. And you could do that 4 more times, 3 more times. And that would make, again, this is the default availability, the scope that people could select from. We'll never let them choose Monday or 12 to 1. Excuse me. I'm getting all choked up thinking about bookings. Trying not to die over here. All right, there we go. So we'll go ahead and I'm not going to save any of this stuff. I'll go ahead and leave it the way it was. So I'm gonna discard. So we're gonna go right back to the default. We're gonna keep moving upward over here on the left, and we're gonna go into services. Services are the things that you do, the things that you offer, right? So Joe, I'm sticking with the barbershop stuff. So we're gonna go with head shave. Joe will shave your head bald. Um, this is not going to be an online meeting because Joe needs to see you to do this, right? You have to be physically there. And Joe can do it in, I would say 5 minutes, but we'll just be reasonable and say 30 minutes. So that would be the duration of the appointment on your calendar. It's going to block off 30 minutes. We did talk a little bit last month about buffer time in the Bookings with Me solution. And this one also has buffer time. So if Joe needs 15 minutes in between appointments, of head shaves to clean off his equipment, I'm really trying to make this up as I go. Then you could give a 15-minute buffer on the front side and then a 15-minute buffer on the back side. And any math wizards out there who want to tell me what 15 plus 15 plus 30 is, you'll see it needs to block off 1 hour of time on Joe's calendar. So now we've got a 1 hour chunk. So Bookings is going to search for a contiguous block of 1 hour that is on Joe's calendar. Yeah, John says a boot camp haircut was 45 seconds. So Joe's got plenty of time. We're being very, very conservative here. Let customers manage their appointment when it was booked by you or by staff on their behalf. So you might have seen when we talked about who's allowed to book appointments, and it was defaulted to anyone in your organization, or it could be anyone externally. There was another option that was nobody. All the appointments would be received by phone. Somebody called your office, and then you have someone who's controlling the scheduling would just use Bookings to book an appointment on their behalf. So if you choose this option, which I don't have any opinions one way or the other on it. It would send an email to that person and let them know, hey, that appointment's been scheduled for you. And from that email, they would have the ability to cancel or reschedule. So,
and that's where those roles come into play with respect to bringing in other staff and giving them either team membership or the scheduling role. They would be able to take those phone calls and put something on to the booking site.
Yep. All right, so we're going to go into the availability options, and we're going to show our people time increments on the half-hour slot. And this works out really well for Joe's thing because remember we're looking for a 1 hour contiguous block of time. If you did something weird like a 45-minute appointment, and you said it can only show times that are in half-hour increments, you could end up with all these dead spots of 15 minutes, potentially on the calendar. How short a notice can they give you? So this is pretty good. I set my personal bookings page to 12 hours. If somebody's talking to me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't want to tell them that they can't book me until after 3 o'clock the following day. I feel like that's a little aggressive. So I make mine 12 hours. And so if they're talking to me at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they could schedule me at 10 o'clock in the following morning, if that slot was available.
And that's great for if you have maybe you're going to do like a farm visit and you're going to be traveling. Maybe you want that to be, 2 or 3 days out.
Yep.
So you've got time to plan and make sure that you've got someone staffed to make that trip.
And remember, this is per service. So like Joe just said, farm visit. You could have other services that don't have travel time associated with them that maybe could have a lot less lead time. right? Maybe it's a virtual consultation where you're just jumping on a Teams meeting with someone and they're showing you holding up their plant or whatever it is that, you know, their cow and saying what's wrong with it. And you could just do it virtually. So there's no travel needed, so less lead time required. Maximum lead time, you know, a year's pretty far out there. You know, you might want to drop that to 30 days or 60 days or something. Somebody could drop an appointment on my calendar if I ran with this, you know, July 11th, 2024. You know, I'm never going to remember that ever. So that would be kind of a surprise in a year when that showed up. So you could draw this like maybe 60 days. Again, this is not official like recommendation. It's just my opinion. Um, Scheduling availability. So this is important because that very first option there is going to do exactly the same thing that Bookings with Me did. It is when you onboard or add someone into your bookings page, the booking service is going to be able to look at their calendar, and it's not going to let anybody pick a time that is not free on their calendar. Remember, we talked about that last month. So let me open up Nestor's calendar here.
Real quick, while you're doing that, what we want to reiterate there is the booking service is going to look at your calendar to look for those times. There isn't a visibility for bookings to the public with respect to like what is on your calendar. Bookings is just going to show times that are available, but no details or anything like that. So that's sometimes a question we get.
Yeah, good call out. I have had people worry about that and say, but I don't need everybody outside looking at when I'm available or what I'm doing. And it's if you're not like Thursday at 11 a.m. to 12, that option just wouldn't be listed as one they could pick. They're not going to see something that's like, oh, Dwayne's busy at a parent teacher conference from 11 to 12 on Thursday the 13th. They're having no idea what you're doing. They just know that they can't select that time. And so, just like Bookings with Me, very important. The only slots that can be taken are slots that don't have anything there, or it has a slot where, you know, maybe I'm not the primary on this particular meeting for whatever reason. I could say show as free. And so see how that little bar changed right there? It's now hollow. So this thing is on my calendar and I could jump onto it if I needed to, but it's not preventing somebody from scheduling me at the same time. That is pretty hard to do. You know, you really have to be intentional about going in there and doing that. So by default, anything that is busy, or this is a big one, anything that's tentative will also block out that slot on your calendar. So things like meeting invites that you receive that you haven't RSVP'd to yet, they will hold a space on your calendar as tentative. And that will prevent people from booking you. I struggle with this a lot personally. I get lots of meeting invites that I'm like, do I need to be at this? And I end up not ever accepting it. And then it's on my calendar and nobody can ever book me. So yeah, that's the default here. Bookable when staff are free. Very important. Let's assign some staff. So, oh, I love this stuff. This is really, really, really powerful. We are doing a head shaving exercise here. I forgot to add Joe to this as a staff member, so I'll have to go back and do that. There's a few things that you can do here. You can say it's just going to be one person, and you could select one person. Or you could say it's just going to be one person, and you could select two people. Well, what happens if you do that? Maybe you have a little pool of master gardeners that do soil samples. It's just going to pick whoever's available at the time that the customer asked for it. So that's pretty powerful. Now you've got some redundancy there, some higher availability in whoever it is that's offering that service. If it was just like this, then Dwayne is the only one that can offer this service, and you are solely tied to his availability on his calendar on when you can pick him.
And I think, Dwayne, we found that if you've got two selected and both are free, it's going to kind of randomly assign that service.
Yeah, I don't know what the logic is on how it decides who it picks, if it has a random number generator in the background or it throws down a Dungeons and Dragons die or something, but but it just picks somebody, because you're definitely going to want to make sure somebody gets picked. If you have multiple staff members assigned, there's this slider right here, which will have a big impact on what the page looks like. The person goes in and, we've got our shaved head example or soil sample, and they pick it. Then they'll be able to actually drop down from a list and say, I want Dwayne to do mine, or I want Nestor to do mine. If you have that selected, if you turn that off, then they don't know who they're going to get. They're just going to get whoever's assigned and is available. This multiple staff one, Joe, aren't we happy about this?
Yeah,
this
we
is a
waited
big
for
one
a while
us,
for that.
Yeah. Let me click the little eyeball on that. Nope. Come back. There we go. So we've got draw a box to add some contrast there. So if you select multiple staff, this is magical. This is going to only allow the customer to select a time that is available across all the calendars of whoever is assigned to the service. This is, you talk about time saver. trying to do something that's like, not just when am I available, but when are all 5 of you available, plus me. Doing something like that conversation becomes really convoluted really quickly. There are voting polls and, all that kind of stuff, but I've seen some really cool applications for this. You've got the easy one is you've got a service that takes 2 people. Maybe there's some sort of evaluation that you're doing that it's a 2-person job, right? So you add these 2 people to this, and now the customer can only pick a time that both of those 2 people are available to come do that job. That's a slam dunk right there. Other more outside the box ways I've seen this be used is for interview committees. I've seen an interview committee who's doing a series of job interviews, or maybe they're interviewing vendors or whoever it is. You could add all the people who are part of the interview committee to this service. Say the interview is always going to be a 1-hour time slot and you want 30 minutes in between your interviews. You could set that with your buffer time and the duration of the appointment. And then you could put all the people in the service and check off multiple staff, and then just send a link to all the people who are wanting to interview. And then they can pick a time that works for them, probably the quickest available one. And they're only ever going to get interview slots where the entire committee is available for the interview, assuming that the committee keeps their calendar up to date. That's a big part of this. Hopefully everybody's doing that. Hopefully everybody's keeping their calendars up to date. This is so cool. I'm so excited about this. So I'm going to go back to single staff and just do myself there. Or actually, I'll do Nestor. Yeah. All right. So now we're going to move into custom fields. Well, extension agents, I know you are always asking for information, as much of it as you can possibly get, as much as people are willing to give to you. Well, you can ask for that stuff up front before they even schedule the appointment. You can make it a part of the appointment. Think about this kind of like a form. They have to fill out a little form. You're going to have these 4 default fields here, and you can uncheck them if you don't want them to show up at all. Or you can check it and you can make it required. If we go back to the site visit thing, well, you need to know where you're going, right? So they need to give you an address. So you might want to make that required. Is it a online meeting? Well, then you're going to want to make sure that they give you their emails because you need to send them a calendar invite. You know, bookings is going to send them a calendar invite. So they have to put in their email. So you could do that. And again, if you uncheck these, that just makes them not show up at all. So I'm going to leave, I'm going to do this. So we'll have these two are required. And now you can get into some custom ones. There's two options for custom ones. It can be an open text answer, or it could be a drop down, like, you know, adding options like this. So you could ask all those questions that I know that you're asking, you know, the demographic questions, you know, those types of things. You could put all those in here. So I could do, what's your favorite color? And we could do red, blue, green, and trick question black. So that is going to be another required question on my intake form for scheduling an appointment. And then we'll drop into notifications. So notifications are reminders that will be automatically sent to the person who is scheduling an appointment with you. This is important because you want to make sure that they know, like, you get a confirmation email, hey, your appointment's here. That's also where they'll have the link where they can go and manage their appointment. They can schedule, you know, they can reschedule, they can cancel, those types of things. And then you can have it do follow-up reminders, and you can customize it too. Like, you can add all kinds of stuff in here, which is pretty cool. There's, you know, some text formatting capabilities, hyperlinks, all that kind of stuff. And you can add your email reminders here to make sure that one day before they get a notice like, hey, don't forget, you said you needed me to come do a site visit. I'm going to be there. You can have this to kind of increase the likelihood that they have not forgotten, which is pretty cool. And then we'll have automatic follow-ups where you could even customize these with, like, again, I know extension agents. I want to know what was the assessment pre-visit and what's the situation post-visit so I can measure my impact. So you could drop a link in here to a survey, a form, something like that, that they're going to get automatically and hopefully fill out, right? Okay, so let me save all these changes. Head shave. All right, we're going to go back into head shave and we're going to do one more change. I'm going to make it an online meeting. So if you make it an online meeting, this makes the meeting into a Teams meeting. Any kind of virtual appointment that you might want to do, you could do it via Teams here. And this is pretty cool. So if you check this box, it will change the link of the meeting so that when people click the link, they're not authenticated and they don't have to have the Teams app on their computer. Think about people who are joining maybe from an iPhone or an iPad, something like that. This is very, very, very helpful. So I just wanted to point that out. And then I think we had, let me save this back in. I thought there was, oh, it might be on the page. It's on the page options. So I'll turn that off. Okay. So we got two services here. I'm going to assign a staff member to this one. Actually, we'll do multi-staff just so we have a few different options when we get our bookings page, because I realize I've only got 9 minutes left. We've got our staff here that we've added. So I've added, I'll add Joe on here as well. Why is it showing? Oh, that's your guest account, Joe. Jasper. Why is it showing that one, Joe?
I don't know. Where is well, you're signed in as, who are you signed in right now as?
There. Did that. All right. Yep. Notify the staff member when a booking is assigned to them. You can have different hours for that person. So maybe that person, before you even bring them into your bookings page, they're on the second shift, right? Maybe they work a different shift. They work from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. You know, you could make that change here so that people had different availability hours for that particular individual because they're on a different shift.
And real quick, when that person gets added, they're going to get an email that is requesting the booking service to be given access to that their mailbox.
Yeah.
Want to be
Oh,
aware
Joe,
of that.
I know why. Because I'm in the wrong tenant. I'm in.
Okay.
Now I understand. Everybody, you can ignore everything I just said for the last couple of minutes. I'm not in the shift show tenant. I can't add Joe. He's not a member of this. I can add Adele though. I'll add her. Golly, see, profile picture, everything shows up. That was dumb. Okay, so saving. She's a team member. All right, now let's take a look at customers. Customers is going to auto self-populate as people book. So this is gonna, I don't want to call it a CRM, but as people are scheduling, they're gonna show up as a customer, and you're gonna have that information that you've collected about them there. And bookings page. So this is important. Bookings page. We can go into a few of these different controls here. Disable search engine indexing. Do you want Google and Bing crawling your county website and picking up your bookings page and returning it as a hit when people search for Cloudy County? You know, sure, maybe. I don't know. You could turn it off, or at least ask to turn it off. Require a one-time passcode. Think of anti-spam protection when you do this. I'm going to turn this on, and this is going to globally make every single service that you offer, when the person tries to schedule it, they'll have to put in their email, and then it's going to send a 6-digit code to their email, and they'll have to go to their email and put that code in. So this is like anti-robot kind of thing, and it does the side benefit of making sure that the person actually put their email address in correctly. So that's also very important. So I'm all about that. If you have any kind of like policies that you want to make sure are listed on your page, you could do that here. That default scheduling policy that we talked about when you first created your bookings page is available there as well. And then you can customize your page. You can give it, I'm gonna make mine blue. And yeah, I'll just make it blue. One thing that I get tripped up on here a lot is the save button is at the top of where we just were. So I'm down here. I would need to scroll back up to the top and click save. But I did see one thing. I'm gonna drop this down too. By default, people are gonna see bookings in their time zone. So if you're dealing with time zones, you're crossing over time zones, this is pretty handy and pretty useful to know. When people look at when they're looking at your page, the times that they see available are whatever that time is, their time. You can change it to say, show it in the time zone of wherever the business is located. If you wanted to, you could do that. So just keep that in mind if you have some time zone stuff going on. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to copy the bookings page, and I've got a private browser window here, which logged into a outlook.com mailbox that we're going to use to demonstrate scheduling. And we're going to head over to our bookings page and see what it looks like.
Real quick, you can see there in that URL is the name that you first created for that bookings.
Yep. So this looks pretty lame, pretty vanilla, right? There's nothing going on here. It's got no sprinkles, no whipped cream, nothing. You could add, again, I don't have a logo here. A logo would really make this pop out a little bit more. And then customizing your color theme to match your logo would also help quite a bit. But in the interest of time, we're just going to select head shave. I can't remember who I added to head shave.
I think Nestor.
Was it? Yeah, so I can see Nestor's profile picture, and then 30-minute meeting was a double. Okay, so we can select Nestor. These are all the times that Nestor is available on Thursday. and then on Friday. And remember, like we said, let's look at Nestor's calendar. Nestor has an appointment at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9:15, because of that 15-minute buffer time. 9:15 is the first one that I could pick. So that's nice, right? It gives Nestor 15 minutes to get in the door and get ready. And then you could pick it. Let's see, what other times did Nestor not have? So Thursday at 11. So we'll pick Thursday. Yep. So all in the middle there, it's gone. So it's not just like the other bookings product. It's not that it's divulging anything about what's on your calendar or what you're doing. They just simply can't pick that slot. It's just not available. We've got some information here. Notice I had made some of these required, right? And what's your favorite color? My custom question is available there. So it's going to be Dwayne Test. It is the shift show at outlook.com. And shave my head. What's your favorite color? Black. Book. Oop, I didn't pick a date. There we go. Come on, demo. There we go. So this is that one-time passcode that we were talking about. So I would have to flip over to the Outlook email address. And of course, it went to my junk mail because why wouldn't it? And I can copy the 6-digit code and paste it in. Spinning, spinning, spinning. Oh boy. All right. Well, this is how it goes on demos when you want something to work in 3.5 seconds and it doesn't. There it goes. Perfect. Okay. I have this page. I can save this page, but this is going to be sent to me in my email anyway. So let's take a look. How does that not go to spam, but the other one does? Welcome to Prime Day. Oh, come on. All right, somewhere in here, I will get a. Oh, those are ads. My bad. I will get an email that lets me manage my appointment. That's where I'm going to get my follow-ups, all that kind of stuff. There it goes. So this is pretty cool, right? So it gave me a calendar attachment that I could use. This was not an online meeting, right? This was a in-person meeting. If it were an online meeting, it will do a direct calendar invite that you would just say, yes, I want this, or no, I don't. So you RSVP to it, which is nice. Thanks, Robin. Appreciate you hanging out. So we've got, oops, let me kill that off. So I have the options to reschedule and manage my own appointment. And then last but not least, I just wanted to show real quick the, back, grab my link to my bookings page, put it back in over here. And I just wanted to show that multi-staff service. So this 30-minute meeting, it does have a staff group, it says, connected to it. And the only days that I can pick are the days that both staff are available. So both Dwayne and Nestor have to be available on these times in order for me to be able to select these. So in this case, I know that for Dwayne, I had blocked off the afternoon. So anything after 12 is gone. So because that doesn't work for Dwayne, even though it works for Nestor, not good enough, it's taking it out. The ability for it to reconcile 5, 6, 7 calendars and find time slots across all of them, I feel like that's the takeaway here for sure. If you've got any kind of situation like that where you need multiple people to be present for a bookings type scenario, that's super cool. So that's really what Bookings Classic or Bookings brings to the table. There's a lot more stuff that we didn't have time to talk about, available like in apps. There's the virtual appointments app in Teams. That's where a lot of bookings tech is going. The bookings app in Teams and the virtual appointments app are being merged, and everything will be available in virtual appointments. I don't have enough time to really dive into that, but maybe we can drop some links in the chat or something for y'all later to take a peek at. But there's lots of cool potential in this app as well. So,
Dwayne, can we look at the calendar of the bookings real quick?
Yeah.
And because I want to point out one question we get is, how do I, if I'm asking for demographics or any type of particular specific form data there, how do I get to it? Can I access that in some way? And there in the calendar, you can export like 3 months of the recent bookings.
Yeah, it'll be in the body of the email or of your invite. You'll get your custom field information, and like Joe said, it will be available in the bookings page, and you can export a date range of all the appointments that were ever scheduled on that booking site, and you can export that to an Excel file that you can manipulate and use later in some sort of like reporting solution. Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll have those custom fields that if you've asked for them.
Yep. So pretty cool way to see like a an overall view. This calendar here is going to show you like the status of your staff, and you're going to get like overlays and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So we can see that, we've got this one scheduled here, but Nestor's not available on that time. So this is again where one of those roles would come into play, like a viewer role or a scheduler role would have the ability to see this kind of stuff, which is pretty sweet. So very powerful. I hope y'all go play with it. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask us. We would be more than happy to chat about bookings and help y'all be successful with it. I think that like just the fact that it's probably already there, again, licensing features being enabled, double check that. But if it's already there, yeah, just go to office.com and find bookings and start playing with it. You don't have to sign up for anything. You just need to learn how to use it. It's already a tool in your toolbox. That's what
just
we're
to
all about.
Get you thinking about it real quick, is some other scenarios we've seen is your staff could be resource mailboxes that you have in your organization. Like maybe you've got a resource mailbox that is a van or some type of scientific equipment or something like that. And you could have your bookings set to only people in your organization and enable someone to check out a van for a day or half a day or book some type of equipment. We've seen use that way too.
Yeah, Kevin tried to steal your thunder in the chat there, talking about that. But yeah, your staff can be things. And like Kevin said, you do have to be mindful of like the durations that you allow that thing to be booked. So something like a vehicle, you can't say, I want the vehicle from 8 to 10. You'd have to give people the option to book the vehicle for 2 hours, 4 hours or 8 hours. So a part of a day, half a day, or a whole day, and that's just what they take, even if they don't use it the whole time. So, but yeah, booking stuff is also a very creative and fun way to use Microsoft Bookings. And now with multi-staff, oh gosh, it's just so powerful. So I know we're way over time, so I'm going to shut up. But thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We'll hang out on the call if you have any questions. But for now, we'll say bye and go ahead and kill the recording.
Thank you.